What is up guys, Stark here. I am back for another Fate video, and in today's video we are going to be taking a look at the 3rd anniversary servant, Skadi. So Skadi is another caster added to the ranks, and she basically takes up the mantle for quick support, and she is going to completely change the game as we know it. Well, I guess for global players, Japan players have been using Skadi for a couple years now, so they are used to it, but for any NA player out there, Skadi is going to be a fantastic addition to the game. She's going to be game-changing effectively. Right now in the game, Merlin pretty much runs rampant as the Buster support servant, and I guess you could say Tamamo is the caster equivalent for arts cards, and now Skadi's coming out as the quick support servant, and she is absolutely fantastic. Now, it's not necessarily whether or not she's better than Merlin or not, it's just that she does something different, and she opens up a ton of possibilities for different teams in the game. So yeah, she is a caster, and at level 90, she will go up to 14,406 HP and 10,753 attack. This will rank her 16th overall in HP and 54th overall in attack. As for how she compares to other casters in the game, she is actually going to rank 2nd overall in HP for casters, and she will rank 4th overall in attack for casters. Now, casters really don't worry about attack that much, so that's kind of irrelevant. Her HP stat is pretty good though, falling just behind the caster of the Nightless City there, by quite a large margin really, but I would say between the two of them, everyone's going to be choosing Skadi. Her star absorption is 49, her star generation is 10.8%, and her Noble Phantasm generation on her attacks is 0.67, and on defense it is 3%. So as I said before, Skadi is going to change the game as a quick support servant, and her skills are basically the reason why. So she got a fantastic kit of skills, and her first skill is going to be the Primordial Rune Skadi, which will increase the quick card effectiveness of one ally for 3 turns, as well as their critical strength for 3 turns. So be on a 6-turn charge time, which is a little high, but it's okay, and the percentages are really good. You have a 50% increase for the quick card effectiveness and a 100% increase to the critical strength. So you're going to be doing a lot of extra damage with your quick cards, and you're also going to be able to do extra damage with crits. Now this is limited only to quick cards, so the critical damage is only going to be for quick cards. So make sure you keep that in mind when you're using this skill, but realistically speaking, you're going to have a lot of quick cards in your command card decks now going forward, so it shouldn't be much of an issue. And realistically speaking, a lot of people use Skadi for farming, so you probably won't even be using too many normal attacks anyway. Her second skill is going to be the Freezing Blizzard. This will decrease the defense of all enemies for 3 turns, as well as decreasing their critical rate for 3 turns. So in order to set up for your Noble Phantasm spamming and wave clearing and farming, Skadi will actually reduce the defense of those characters, so that means you'll be able to hit even harder. So that's going to be really good, especially if you're going up in like the boss wave. You can reduce the defense to do a little bit of extra damage there. This is also on a 6-turn charge time, but this one's not as big of a deal as the first skill. Which the first skill is not really a big deal either. It lasts for 3 turns, and by that time you should have cleared most of the fight, you know, if you're farming or wave clearing or event farming or whatever you're doing. More often than not, you're probably going to win in the 3 turns anyway. Her third and final skill is the good one and the big one really. It's going to be the Wisdom of the Greater Gods B+. This will increase Noble Phantasm gauge for 1 ally. So looking at the skill on paper, you're like, oh, well, that doesn't do a whole lot, so why is it so good? Well, it is on a 6-turn charge time, so that's irrelevant, but it gives you a 50% increase to your gauge at max level. So, effectively, if you have a servant that can do a Noble Phantasm refund, so we'll talk about Valkyrie again, she will get around 40% to her gauge field on a Noble Phantasm refund. Ideally, it's not always going to be that way, but just for this example, she has a skill that gives her 10%, so you'll be at 50%, you use Skadi to get to 100%, and you can fire off your Noble Phantasm again in quick succession, and then if you use double Skadi, you could do this multiple times, and just like that, you beat the fight in very, very limited time. So it's going to be very helpful for farming, and she has a whole amount of other buffs and stuff in there to help you along the way. So yeah, Skadi's fantastic, and she's going to change the game. I cannot wait to get her and level her up and just have a great time with it. As for her passive, she does have 3. The first one is the Territory Creation EX, which will increase your arts card effectiveness by 12%. The second one is Item Construction A, which will increase your debuff chance rate by 10%. And finally, she has the Core of the Goddess A, which applies damage plus 250 and also increases debuff resistance by 25%. So yeah, all in all, it goes without saying, Skadi is going to get 5 stars in skills. She has a fantastic kit of skills, and she's like, it's going to be fun, guys. If you've never used Skadi before, just watch out. It's going to be fun. You're going to see a ton of Skadis on your friend list, so get used to it. But she's really good, and she's going to make content a lot easier for a lot of people, and just farming is going to be significantly easier as well. For her command cards, she has 2 quick, 2 arts, 1 buster. Her hit counts are pretty good as well. 4 on the quick, 3 on her arts, 4 on the buster, and 5 on her extra attack. And then for her command card chains, for damage, it's going to go buster, quick, quick, extra. For Noble Phantasm generation, she's going to need a friend's art card in there. So it's going to be a friend arts or a support arts, then 2 of hers, and that'll get you 103% to your Noble Phantasm gauge. And this is a little deceptive because it is including her 3rd skill. Now, I guess I probably shouldn't have included that, but still, that's still going to get you pretty good gauge generation just by herself there. It'll be at 53% if you take out her skill. So that's still really good. And then for stars, you're going to go Buster, Quick, Quick, Extra to get 26 stars. Her Noble Phantasm is going to be an Arts Noble Phantasm, and this will increase the critical strength of all of your allies 3 times over the course of 5 turns. You'll also be able to apply evasion for all allies 1 time over the course of 3 turns, and you'll also be able to apply death immunity for all of your allies 1 time over the course of 3 turns. And then on the overcharge effect, this will apply incoming damage cut for all allies for 3 turns. So there is a lot to get through here. First of all, it doesn't do any damage, so that's out of the way, but it got a lot of buffs. So the critical strength increase is going to be fantastic. It does last 5 turns, but it is only 3 attacks, so that could potentially only last 1 turn. It probably won't last the full 5 turns. But then again, you're not going to be attacking with all of your characters each turn, so it could potentially make it the full 5 turns depending on what characters you attack with. And then you get the evasion. That'll be pretty cool. It's only 1 attack, but still, that could be a Noble Phantasm evasion or something like that. So that could be very helpful. Death immunity, if you're going up against it, it'll be helpful, you know, being able to evade it. There's really not that many instances that I could think of where you would even have to get hit with death immunity multiple times in a span of 3 turns. So it only being 1 time is fine. And then damage cut is always nice. So between 500 and 1500 damage over the course of 3 turns. That's going to be really helpful to keep your team alive. But for her damage, she's only going to get 3.5 stars. She's a caster, so she doesn't do that much damage anyway. That's not why you're taking her into the fight. But she does have decent stats, I guess, for it. So she can do some decent damage. But again, you're not taking Skadi into a fight for damage. Her critical ability will get 4 stars. She has her Noble Phantasm for crit strength, which we just talked about. And she is able to generate quite a lot of stars on her own. But other than that, she also does have the increased quick card crit strength for one of your allies. So she's got a little bit there, but not a whole lot. So overall, she'll get 4 stars. Her Noble Phantasm will get 4.5 stars. It doesn't do any damage, but it makes up for that with the amount of buffs you get. The only drawback is that they are limited to a specific number of times. So it does lose a point there, like half a point just because of that. But again, it shouldn't be anything very significant. Her survivability will also get 4.5 stars. She's got pretty good HP, and the buffs I just talked about will help keep your allies alive for a pretty good amount of time. And then outside of that, she just has a ton of good support skills that will more than likely kill the enemy before they can kill you. So that also helps keep people alive. Her versatility will get 5 stars. She is the staple for quick teams, and quick teams are going to dominate going forward. So just throw her in there with pretty much any other quick servant and you're going to be fine. You can definitely utilize this with AoE, Noble Phantasm, quick servants like Valkyrie, who will be able to just utilize Skadi so much and just spam Noble Phantasms like crazy. And that'll give her overall ranking a 4.4 out of 5. The ranking, I feel like the ranking for this character specifically is a little irrelevant, just because, you know, some of the stats that I grade on don't really pertain to her. So it drags her down a little bit, but she's definitely up there with Waver and Merlin as one of the best characters in the game. And again, like I said before, Merlin is there for buster cards, so if you need buster teams, take Merlin. If you need quick teams, you're going to take Skadi. And there's going to be a lot of instances going forward where you're going to take Skadi instead of Merlin. Or you could even take both of them, honestly, and just pick one character for damage and just take the other two in. So yeah, Skadi's a fantastic servant. So as for the banners, obviously the 3rd anniversary is where she comes out in for the first time. But outside of that, she does come back a decent amount of times, I guess I want to say, but none of them will be for this year. So if you don't want to wait until next year, then pull for Skadi during the anniversary. There's a ton of banners out for it, so just pick whichever one you want and go for Skadi. I strongly recommend getting Skadi. I've said this in a different video, but you don't necessarily need 2 Merlins. You honestly probably shouldn't take 2 Merlins into the fight to do anything, but having 2 Skadis is going to be significantly better than having 1, just by being able to spam a 3rd Noble Phantasm wave. So this isn't one of those instances where you can let someone else pull for Skadi and then use that as a friend support one. You're going to need your own Skadi and take a support Skadi in order to really maximize her potential for double Skadi teams. So yeah, I definitely think you should pull for her. But that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you're all ready for Skadi. If not, take the opportunity to hurry up and get it done. So if you like the video, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I have the links below to my Twitter, Twitch, Patreon, and Discord. So feel free to check those out. And I'll leave you here with Skadi's Noble Phantasm. And I'll see you next time.
我が名に紐付けられし力、我が声に応えて門を開け。来たれ我が城、影の城、ゲート・オブ・スカイ。さあしもべたち、私の敵を殺せ。